So this is the golfer fountain. Um, One of my big purchases that we made down in Toronto at Humberside when it was on half price sale at the end of a season. Kept it over the winter, and George proudly installed that the next year. I think it was about 2003, so we had a couple years with this fountain. And it is a bit tricky to get it put away every year now, and I store it under the deck here and bring it back out and get it going. It's not supposed to be quite like that at the top. It's supposed to have a little thing that makes it more look like rain, but that's the golfer and it's raining. And it's kind of interesting that George loved golfing and he brought the golfer into the garden. And I like telling that story about keeping that golfing, um, keeping that going. So this is the year that I ended up having to replace the hot tub, and we had installed the first one in 1994, and just when we had two grandsons born that year, and they were just little babies in the hot tub with us. But this year, through the winter, I had a leak, and in the spring, you won't believe this, but a crane came and lifted this thing right over the house and plunked it in, and guess what? It was right on my birthday. So I just keep thinking, I wasn't going to do anything big for this big birthday, but I did do something big. We got a new hot tub. I loved it. People enjoy it a lot here because it feels like we're at a cottage. And that is the surprise to the backyard, is that we're in the city, right downtown, and most people feel like they're in Muskoka when they get around here. So it's really kind of neat to be able to surprise people that in the city of Owen Sound, you can have a cottage. So this, I called coming down here so that we can follow along our pie-shaped property. This is called our river walk. And it was really the last project that George completed. He was actually not feeling well at all. And this little section right here, his brother Bill completed for him. Because he had it planned, but he didn't have this little part done. But since, well, in fact, just last year when people started walking along here, I noticed a lot of people were quite nervous because it is right beside the river. So I did get the railing put in, and I do have more plans to do a bit more sculpturing on the hillside. So this part of our memory gardens is really probably the neatest thing that ever happened. Is that the day that we came to look at the house when we were purchasing it in 1979, and the house had already had two apartments in it, and Rosemary was selling it, and we came around the back here, and this whole spread of lily of the valley was blooming. It was right on Mother's Day. And my grandmother and I didn't even get in the house. We just basically said we'd buy it just for the location. And that's what they always say in real estate, it's location, it's location. A lot of people have asked me, how did you ever get this place? Well, I don't know how we really got it, but we got it and I'm taking good care of it. So the next people will enjoy it as well. The bank, with all of the myrtle and the lily of the valley, was totally the inspiration to go grassless. We have no grass on this property, no grass cutting. At our farm before we moved here in 1979, that was the major job that we had, was cutting grass. And now, of course, it's mostly deadheading and enjoying. So it's quite a difference. So I'd just like to mention the prayer flags. This is actually the first year I've put them up. I've had them in the house before. When I was going to Lifelong Learning, and Alan Spatillo was telling the story of the Tibetan journeys that he had, and he introduced prayer flags to me, and I actually purchased a photograph from him. It's not a photograph, it's a print of his paintings, and the prayer flags have just spoken to me ever since. I just think it's a nice way of being serene, and to think about that. You can look at each one and do a prayer for each one as you walk along here or sit here. It's kind of a neat thing, and I'm proud to have those in the garden.